Hey guys, welcome to the show. I am still in DC filling in for Sagar on Breaking Points. I'm here all week. Crystal and I have already done 2 shows, and we have another one that we're going to do tomorrow. So everybody tune into the Breaking Points YouTube channel or listen to the Breaking Points podcast. It's on a variety of different platforms. Having a lot of fun doing that, but I have an awesome show for you guys today for my show, for Secular Talk, the Kyle Kulinski show. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Andrew Cuomo has officially resigned, and I have a video here of his resignation. Go ahead and throw that up there, Chuck.
Part of being New York tough is being New York smart. New York smart tells us that this situation and moment are not about the facts. It's not about the truth. It's not about thoughtful analysis. It's not about how do we make the system better. This is about politics. And our political system today is too often driven by the extremes. Rashness has replaced reasonableness. Loudness has replaced soundness. Twitter has become the public square for policy debate. There is an intelligent discussion to be had on gender-based actions, on generational and cultural behavioral differences, on setting higher standards, and finding reasonable resolutions. But the political environment is too hot, and it is too reactionary for that now. And it is unfortunate. Now, you know me. I'm a New Yorker, born and bred. I am a fighter. And my instinct is to fight through this controversy because I truly believe it is politically motivated. I believe it is unfair and it is untruthful. And I believe it demonizes behavior that is unsustainable for society. If I could communicate the facts through the frenzy, New Yorkers would understand. I believe that. But when I took my oath as governor, then it changed. I became a fighter, but I became a fighter for you. And it is your best interest that I must serve. This situation, by its current trajectory, will generate months of political and legal controversy. That is what is going to happen. That is how the political wind is blowing. It will consume government. It will cost taxpayers millions of dollars. It will brutalize people. The State Assembly yesterday outlined weeks of process that will then lead to months of litigation. Time and money that government should spend managing COVID, guarding against the Delta variant, reopening upstate, fighting gun violence, and saving New York City. All that time would be wasted. This is one of the most challenging times for government in a generation. Government really needs to function today. Government needs to perform. It is a matter of life and death, government operations. And wasting energy on distractions is the last thing that state government should be doing. And I cannot be the cause of that. New York tough means New York loving. And I love New York. And I love you. And everything I have ever done has been motivated by that love. And I would never want to be unhelpful in any way. And I think that given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing.
So there you have it. Now, he went on to say, officially resigning in 2 weeks. He says he's doing that to get his replacement up to speed. I actually don't know. I didn't read in any of the articles, the chain of command, so I don't know who's going to be the governor next. But he says, I'm officially gone in 14 days. I'm just getting my replacement up to speed. He's getting a little bit of criticism over the 2-week lag time before stepping down. You'll notice a bunch of interesting things there. So the entire time that we've been having this conversation, he's been saying two things simultaneously. Number one is, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. This is a witch hunt. And number two is, I learned from this and I apologize. You can't have both things. Now, he tries to have both things by ignoring the worst allegations against him and saying basically they're fake news, and by saying, hey, some of the stuff that people are reporting are accurate, but it's kind of okay, and it's just a cultural difference, and what do you want me to say? I'm Italian, so I'm handsy. So, he did, in his silly response, he ran pictures and videos of him, like, hugging people and kissing people and touching their faces and whatnot, and he's trying to conflate real cases where there's issues with the stuff that you can just say is sort of old school and maybe a little overly handsy and maybe not okay anymore, but at one time it was totally okay. What he doesn't tell you is that there's allegations of him grabbing asses repeatedly. There's allegations of him literally reaching up blouses and grabbing some titty. I mean, again, when you read the specifics, it's very clear which cases are ones that you can't just argue or like, that's just old school being affectionate. Not really. You can't make that case. Also, he's the boss and he would surround himself. He pretended like he was a feminist icon because he would hire more women than any governor in the entire country. He surrounded himself with women. Now you look back at that and you're like, why were you doing that, dog? And the fact of the matter is there were allegations that he would have conversations with people who worked underneath him where he would say, I'm really lonely and I want to be touched. You can't do that if you're the boss, man. That's not just regular flirting because there are implied threats there. What if the person doesn't want to touch you? What then? Is there going to be an official rebuke? Are you going to find a way to demote them or drop them out of favor or not give them the raise when the time comes for the raise? So there's a lot of issues there. Now, I will say I was 100% convinced Andrew Cuomo was not going to resign. He was not going to step down. But guess what? Now we know the only reason why he stepped down, and this became clear in a bunch of the reporting from yesterday, is that if he didn't resign, he was 100% going to get impeached. They had the votes easily in New York to impeach him. So basically, this allows him to save some face and say, I didn't get impeached and kicked out. I resigned myself. And so that's why he did it, because he viewed it as the least bad option out of a number of bad options. So, but I stand by, if they didn't have the votes to impeach, like he said, I was going to fight this thing. Yeah, he was going to fight this thing, and he's going to pull what I would call a Ralph Northam, where Ralph Northam in Virginia was caught doing blackface like 78 times, and everybody was like, all right, you got to step down. This is kind of crazy. And he was like, nah, I'm good. And they didn't have the votes to impeach him, obviously, because it eventually went away. And this was a situation where if he could have gotten away with it, he would have gotten away with it. Because look at Biden with the Tara Reade allegations against him. Look at Trump with the 1,000 allegations against him. And the allegations span all across that sexual harassment, sexual assault spectrum when it comes to Trump. So, I mean, you can say there's definitely different standards and some people can weather the storm and some people can't. But the fact of the matter is the only reason why Cuomo wasn't able to weather the storm is they had the votes to impeach in New York. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And there's a rising left tide in New York where there are many Democrats way to the left of Cuomo who got elected who couldn't wait to axe him. And also, reports are Cuomo is really Machiavellian, and on his way up to power, he didn't really make many friends. He's a guy who would abuse his power and his authority. And now that's coming back to bite him in the ass because you didn't look out for others on your way up. And now they're going, okay, well, we're done with you the second that there's a scandal. So he wanted to fight it, but he couldn't fight it. A couple points extra about what was said there. He says policy is now done on Twitter. Somebody made a good point. They said he's sort of like blaming cancel culture for the fact that he's got to step down. And just add this to the endless list of stuff that's blamed on wokeness and cancel culture that has nothing to do with wokeness or cancel culture. Again, when I think of wokeness, when I think of cancel culture, I think of, somebody making a politically incorrect joke and then getting fired over it, or a speaker being banned from a college campus, or that's what I think of. This has nothing to do with that. You can't just reach up a blouse and grab some titties and then talk about, you don't like this? Must be cancel culture. It's just such a sleazy, disingenuous dodge. And then the other thing is, he's making it seem like he's being altruistic. Like, I care so deeply about the people of New York, and so that's why I have to step down, because I want to focus on policies and grabbing titties on my own time. So that was rough to watch. He's also facing criminal charges, by the way. There's somebody who filed criminal charges against him, and there are now more women coming out. More women coming out. I mean, how many times have we seen this? With every single... There's always a pattern. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody did it, there's almost never just like one accusation. It's always like it's a snowball effect. And that's exactly what we're seeing with Andrew Cuomo here. So, good riddance to Andrew Cuomo. Listen, in his crazy mind, does he think that eventually he's going to make a political comeback? Maybe. Is he going to successfully be able to make a political comeback? I don't know. I sort of doubt it. Look at what happened with Al Franken. But what Al Franken did wasn't even nearly as bad as what Andrew Cuomo did. So we'll have to wait and see. But Andrew Cuomo is going gonzo, son.